Hey, Dan Williams here with Survive Outdoors. Today we're going to be talking about what is the best multi-tool for survival. Before we jump into that, what we do are wilderness medicine videos, what happens if you get hurt in the outdoors, how do you stay safe prior to going outdoors, and how to combat some illnesses, tick disease, spider bites, snake bites, you name it, we're on it. And every once in a while we'll throw in some gear reviews, and that's what we're doing today. Now, what's the best multi-tool for survival? Obviously the one you have on you, but we can be a little more specific than that. Now, you're going to see that I'm clearly a Leatherman fan, and if no one has read the story about this man, it's just short of amazing, where he's in Europe with his bride, or they're walking through Europe, and he has a car actually, it breaks down and he's frustrated, and he develops this multi-tool, and it went crazy after that. And then there was a lot of people copying it, Victorinox, Gerber, and individuals copied it. As far as quality of material, I've tried Gerber, you can't beat the Leatherman. So I'm going to give you my opinion of which one of these I think is best in a survival situation, not in an everyday situation, working on your car or at your house or anything like that. So what we have down here is we have a few Leathermans. So this is the Leatherman Charge. Now there's the Leatherman Wave, there's the Leatherman, and I should note, the Leatherman Signal I used to have, which was made for the outdoors, right? It's the only one that I feel that Leatherman fell short on. They came up with the Leatherman Signal, and what they did is they put a whistle and a small Ferris rod in that Leatherman. And I had it, had a week, and I returned it. And the reason why is the whistle, you're supposed to signal for help. I'm telling you, the whistle is not that loud at all. And the Ferris rod, I mean, you have to be extremely nimbly to get that to work. They could have done a hell of a lot better job. So we'll talk about that down the road, what I think should be done and what Leatherman could do to really make an ideal outdoor survival tool. So down here we have the Leatherman Charge, and this is the Charge TTI. It has 19 tools on it, and one of the things that I really wanted to see in a multi-tool for survival is a good blade. And this has 154 cm is what the blade is, and I am going to put the video at the end of this one and down below on the different types of steel for knives, which ones hold the edge longer, which ones have higher carbon, which are harder to sharpen, and I'll attach that, which we discussed I think last year. So the 154 cm is really easy to sharpen, and it holds a great edge, and that's something you want when you're in the outdoors. I think it's the 420HC, that blade is going to be harder to sharpen, so just so you're aware of that. So this has locking blades, you just push here, and this is the Leatherman Charge TTI. Now, this one here I've had for a long time, and if you open it up and look inside, you'll see that number in there. That is 2004, I believe, and I bought this right when it came out, and I've used it ever since. Fishing, hunting, you name it, and that's been with me. In fact, the old case on this is actual leather with a very hard snap, and we're not going to go through all the tools on that, but the Leatherman Charge, it was and still is a great blade. Now the highest selling Leatherman is the Leatherman Wave, which I don't have here, and it has I think it has 19 tools, and the reason why the Leatherman Wave is basically the most highest selling, one of the reasons is it's cheaper. It's about $30 cheaper, and it is a very nice Leatherman, and it's a little heavy, but it works great. Now, this is also a Leatherman Charge Plus. It also has the S30V, and I keep one of these in my vehicle and one goes in my bag. Why is that? Well, when I'm at work, and you all know what I do, I'm an urgent care PA for greater than 40 years. I want those wire cutters in there because that right there is really handy for clipping off a fish hook off of a lure. And this, like I say, I always keep one in my bag, one in my car. So, I'm sure most of you have checked out the Leatherman. You have the saw blade here, and you have, oh gosh, what else here we got? You got your can opener. You have a very small screwdriver for glasses. That was important to me. And on the Leatherman Charge, you get this little screwdriver. So that was important since I wear glasses. Then the Leatherman comes up, I think it was around 7 years ago, they came out with the Leatherman Juice. This one actually was first, and it's pocket size. It's okay, it's a little gimmicky, and with the Juice CS4, it does not come with a clip, and it just falls into your pocket. Now they have one just above this called the Leatherman XE, I believe, and that one has 2 blades. This one has the 1 blade with this drop point, as you see here. And that's 420 HC on the Juice. And the 420 HC blade is a little cheaper. Well, we're going to get to that here in a minute. Then they came out with the Juice Pro. This is very hard to get. The Juice Pro now is gone. They do not make this anymore. I'll probably keep this and retire it and probably just end up selling it at some point down the road. But what they did with the Juice Pro is they basically made a larger version of the CS4, as you can see, and there's 2 blades in the Juice Pro. All right, so then what we have is the Skeletool, and there's 2 or 3 different types of Skeletools. And there's only 7 tools in this, and now we're starting to work on what is good for survival. Do you really need a ratchet? Do you really need a Phillips and a regular screwdriver? No, of course not. You don't need that. And what they did here, you have a bottle opener, because man, you got to have that beer, right? You got to open that when you're in a survival situation. And you got your pliers, you got your wire cutters here. They do have a Phillips. This is much lighter than any of the other ones they have. And then you have the blade on the outside, 1-hand opening, and this is a 154 cm metal. And basically I carry this every day. This is a really, really good steel, holds an edge, and that's one of the things you really want in a blade. So what do I carry and what do I advise? Before we get to that, if you like going through this kind of equipment, and if you like the fact that I'm talking about wilderness medicine and how to take care of yourself if you fall out of a deer stand, God forbid, get poison ivy, hey, like it, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, because then you're going to get notified on everything. And when we get to 1,000 subscribers, which we're rapidly moving into, we're going to do a giveaway, 1st place, 2nd place, 3rd place. And that's coming up. You won't be disappointed. All right. Then what happened down here is we have Victorinox, the good old Swiss Army. And I got this years ago. Really have never used it. I got this to have in my collection. Has the magnifying glass. It comes with all of these tools. Victorinox and Swiss Army has a long history. And if you're in a survival situation, you got to make sure you look good. So before that ambulance come and the paramedics come, you got to comb that hair. It's really important. With me, probably that's why I don't use it. All right, so it comes with a comb, it comes with a compass. Actually, it's not a bad, it really is nice. This has has a ruler on here, it has a magnifying glass on it. So it really is a very nice piece of equipment. I would never use this in the outdoors. Also comes with a little flashlight. So that's nice. What do I use then in a survival situation? The one I haven't discussed yet. So what I use and what I would advise people to get in a survival situation is the Leatherman Free P4. Now, if you look at some of the comments on this Leatherman Free P4, you're gonna hear people really diss this. They're gonna put it down. Why? Because it has magnets in here, and if you're a carpenter or a plumber and you have metal shavings, it's going to connect to the magnets in here, and it's a real pain in the butt to clean out. And so everyone's got an opinion. Opinions are like what? Rectums, everyone's got one, right? Well, it's a difference between an opinion and being opinionated. Opinionated is dogmatic, blind, and rigid. An opinion is usually either with bias or with experience. So you get these guys out there that are opinionated saying they would never own a Free P4 because of the magnets. Well, you know what? I wouldn't own this either if I was doing carpentry or electrical work. But if I'm in the outdoors, and I've talked about this before, if you injure one hand or a wrist or your arm, you want to have a coat that you can close with. It has to have one or two mechanisms, either Velcro, button, snap, zipper, so you can stay warm. And what I like about this is you can open this with one hand if you have one hand that's injured. And then what I like what they did is they put all the tools on the outside. So you can open all of these on with one hand, and it has the button here to close this. So however, here's my negative on the Free P4. It's 420H steel, and it has the drop point. Personally, if I'm going to pick a blade in a survival situation, I'm going to want this blade over this drop point. That's just my preference. Of course, you're in a survival situation, you want to be happy you got a blade, period. So if I would design a multi-tool for survival, it would be very much like the Free P4 that I can use with one hand, and I wouldn't have all of these tools in here. I would take these suckers out, and I would have me a decent whistle, not made of plastic. I would also have a ferrous rod that I could use, and I would take most of these tools out and have me a nice ferrous rod. I wouldn't have all of these other tools, and then I'm talking about a really nice embellished, like the Leatherman Signal, but a really embellished one with one, what was it? I just lost it in my head now, the 154 cm steel. Talk briefly about this mini skeletal tool. This is called the Stylus PS, and I was told this is TSA approved. They say no sharp objects. I've taken this on 2 flights and I've never had a problem. It comes with the pliers. It has right here, it has some tweezers, which are nice to have, and it has a file, and over here, and this is what was really kind of shocking, it has these tiny little scissors. So if you had a really OCD TSA agent at the airport and they saw this, you might lose it. This is about 30 bucks, but I've had no problem, and so far it's passed TSA. All right, so that is my Leatherman, the best multi-tool for survival, something you can maneuver with one hand like the Free P4. You can open and close all these blades with one hand, and it is has the magnets, and you can easily open and close it. So that's it, guys. So my favorite multi-tool for survival would be the Leatherman Free P4. That's what I like. Always think about it. You have to think, oh, I'm not going to get hurt. I'm not going to injure my hand. I'm not going to fall down. You're going to fall, or when you do fall, you're putting your hands out to stop yourself. And when you do that, that's when you're going to get your radial wrist fracture, you're going to break some fingers, and you're going to be jacked up. And you got to be able to light a fire, cut some twigs, do some stuff with one hand. So you need to think about that. Very important to keep that in the back of your mind when you're buying equipment. Really important. Leatherman Free P4. Hey, Clay Hayes likes it. He's that guy that won the the last Alone series. So, all right, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Keep your eyes on the rise and your face to win. Keep both hands safe. I'll see you next time, guys.